Hey Ranger Nation, welcome back to another video, and today we're going to be talking about Zenkaiger episode 7, and I've got to admit, this one was literally, the way I could describe it is it literally gives you a present of lots of stuff happening, and you're like, what the hell is going on? That's the best way that I could describe this. You're like, what? It basically throws so much at you that it's the best thing in the world. But before we begin, if you want to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, as well as that cheeky notification bell. And with that, let's jump straight into it. As I said before, this gives you a ton of different stuff, and there's quite a lot of information, as well as character development, and as well as meeting new characters and new powers. When I speak about character development, it's mainly Gaion who has it, and he really does kind of annoy me more than anything, because you know that he's got a hatred for the Kikinoids. He doesn't like them, but it just keeps growing and growing to the part where I reckon that, you know, for pets or for food or whatever, he would literally disown his team, betray them all. Maybe not Kaito, but he would just not give a crap about the others. And I really hate this sort of like arrogance that he has, that, oh, I don't care about you, but I only care about humans. You see this all the way through this episode. He does kind of say like, oh, you know, I've got to protect humans, they're kind of squishy and stuff, like, you know, we're made of metal, so we're not as like soft as you guys. And I kind of thought this would be a very big way of saying for Gaion to say, hey, I need to accept the others. I need to say, hey, I really do want to be with you guys, but you know, I have these kind of insecurities. I don't like you guys because, you know, you remind me of something else. I don't know. It's just a very weird thing altogether. And it just kind of makes me not like the character all the way through. And one thing that I literally went, was when you meet Stacy, who is the main rival for this, for Kaito. And in this, Duran thinks that he can take down Stacy, which would then stop the Rangers, like the fake Rangers, attacking and stuff. But Gaion just like jumps in and just absolutely like just defends him. And at that moment I thought, oh really, why are you doing this? Why would you do that? It's so frustrating on so many levels. But then Stacy kind of betrays him, so you kind of think that this would be a main thing all the way through. Now with Kaito, they start talking. This is all over the place. I'm so sorry. So Kaito does start talking to him and saying like, hey, you know, thanks for protecting me. And that's when it kind of leads on. And I think this is the point where maybe Gaion will start listening to his team, actually being friends with them, rather than being like keeping them at an arm's length. So going really roughly at the beginning, when you see Gaion like not listening to the others, you know, I think you had the grandmother at the very beginning coming in. She's like, oh, you know, what's going on there? You two fighting? He's like, oh, like just have her around all the time, so at least like he's a nice person type thing. Because this whole kind of it's like not trusting the other members of the team because of who they are. It's old now. I'm bored of it. Now, as I said, you get to meet Stacy, who is the rival, who is apparently part human, part Kikinoid, and I love this. Like, I love him. He's a great character already. Especially love it when Kaito was like, after he's like, oh, you're an idol, you this. Like, he's like, no, and just walks off. But when Kaito has to run off to save the others, I love the race that they have. It's just so cool. It's just more like, I'm gonna get there first, and you know at some point that they're gonna be good friends. Or I'm gonna predict like, probably much later on in the series, if he gets destroyed, Kaito's gonna hold him in his arms and he's gonna be like, I'm so sorry for doing this, I'm so sorry, Kaito. And then Kaito goes, no. But I kind of also love a little bit, I don't know if this was a thing, but having the Kamen Rider Forze or Force, when the main character goes, it's space time, and I kind of thought that was in it, and I was like, do you know what, that's really cool if it is a reference. So it was nice to kind of see that. Now one thing is, and as soon as I say this, you'll probably hear it too. So Stacy has his version of the Gatlinger, but it sounds so much like the Powerpuff Girls intro. I'm gonna have to play it for you. When I kept hearing that, it's every single time. It's just the very beginning, and I couldn't stop laughing. It was the first thing that popped into my head. So Stacy has the ability to call past other rangers, and it's really cool that you saw Go Ranger, Bokanger, Magi Ranger, and then Gao Ranger all together. It was really nice, but you kind of think that you'd have all those rangers together, because when you come up to a scene later when it's the Gao Rangers as well as the Go Rangers, what happened to the Magi Rangers? What happened to Bokanger? Did they get pulled back into the gears? And I really like the fact that the bad guys are utilizing this ability straight away. It's not going to be something where they think of it like last minute. It's really good that they're using it right now. And that's what I generally really loved about this. It just felt like it was properly planned rather than just off the cuff last minute. But it does kind of remind me a little bit of Zenkaiger, especially since we had, like, say, the Legendary War, where literally you had some Rangers versus Rangers or little things like that. It kind of made me go, okay, that's a bit fine. But I love this sort of thing because even these evil Rangers, these clone Rangers, whatever one you want to call them, they don't, like, kind of hold them back. They go for it. They literally turn around and just, I want to say spread the butter. I don't know why. But they literally just attack. And I like the fact that they're not holding back their punches. And you can see this. This feels like this could have been like the last episode, or this could have been like a part of the film. This is when everyone is just getting absolutely wailed on, and I absolutely loved it. Stacy has a name when he morphs into his stuff, and it's Star Caesar. Star Caesar is a long name and a very complicated name to remember. I really thought at some point that he was going to be called like basically the Zenkaiger name, or like Star Caesar or Star Kaiser. You know, like basically like Zenkaiger or Zenkaiser. That's a bit weird. Anyway, I don't like his outfit. I really don't. It looked. When I saw pictures, I was like, when I've actually seen it in the flesh type thing, I'm not really kind of a big fan of. I just don't like it. I'm sorry to say, just don't like it. When seeing this next, I like the fact that the others were able to use the Gao Ranger powers, and it felt like rather than them just getting a bit of a power up, that they did become animals. And I love Majin when she's like literally like going it's such a different personality like trait that just changes. So rather than being like, oh no, it's more like I'm gonna attack. I like this. I liked all of them, and I like the fact that now Gowan is going to like go for the other Rangers because they're fake. But again, Kaito has said there are some bad people in this world, and we've got to fight them. I'm really sorry about that. Now there are so many things in this near the end which kind of like move out from it. You have the Go Rangers versus Zenkaigers, which is a great thing because I like the fact that the ball that they've got had to go, or the rugby ball, whatever, American football ball, whatever, had to go around all of them to power up. So when the Go Rangers used theirs, it wasn't as effective because it hadn't had the power of the others effectively. Basically uses his ability to bring out the old mecha of the past. He brings out Jew Ranger, Gao Ranger, Magi Ranger, and Bokanger, and I've got to admit, it's really impressive. One thing is though, and I'll explain it through this fight, is that I feel like Kaito isn't paying attention, and this really irritates me. So before that, the others grow, and basically Kaito goes off against Stacy, and they start fighting. Now, when it comes to the main fights, it feels like he just wants to watch, like, oh my god, and I go cheer and go, yeah. Well, I thought that he's an impressive fighter, don't get me wrong. I generally thought that he'd be fighting a lot more and not paying attention to the fight, because at times it's more like he wants to watch but then has to have this like troublesome person come at me. He's like, no, keep away. I'm watching my friends at the moment and supporting them. So it gets to the point where the others get absolutely trashed, like 100% trashed, and they use different combinations. They can split because the others, and this is impressive, so rather than just doing one attack all from each one of them, they combine their efforts together. So like you'll see Gao Ranger powering up the Daijujin and literally going for his attack, and then you got the Magi Ranger going with his the Magi King doing whatever the Bokanger one is. I can't remember the name at the moment, but I love the fact that they're using certain abilities. Now, one thing I didn't see coming was the fact that the Daijujin King basically transforms into tank mode and then just basically attacked. And I loved that. I was like, oh, that's really cool. I would have loved to have seen, one thing I probably would have done in this is that when we get to the next scene, we see that they're all back in, or the Daijunian is back into his Megazord form. I would have had a quick like flash to show, hey, he is transformed back. It just felt a little bit jarring after that one. Or it could have been like literally the others used their certain attacks, and that would have been kind of cool. It gets to the point where they're all still having a fight. They can't transform again because obviously Kaito is busy. But when the others use this, like I want to say bazooka. Basically, it's a giant attack, like a rolling cannon. I thought of Sentai 5, which was the French one for this. I don't know why, but we see like all the other teams that have got these big, massive cannons that they use them, and it's referencing that one, and I absolutely loved it. It now means that we're going to be getting a giant version of this, or like this is going to be constantly used, which I think is a generally really nice thing. Kaito is again distracted, but then throws in, I think, the Denjiman gear, Dynaman, it's Denjiman, whatever. He throws the gear, and then they're able to use the beam to take out these 4 massive Megazords. But when they're all kind of celebrating, I love Stacey goes like, oh, don't be celebrating yet, and then basically just throws in all the other Zords, all the other mecha from previous seasons. And using box artwork, I really like that. Again, selling the toys for this one, but I thought it was a really cool thing. And it got me very pumped up for the next episode because it leaves it on a cliffhanger, which I think is really kind of cool. So now we're just kind of waiting to see what happens. I cannot wait for this episode for next week. It just feels like it should be here by now. But I think it's a good one. And then obviously we get, in the preview, we have the 2 Kaiser, which is basically Gokai Red in gold form, but with a hat on. That's pretty much it. So that's going to be interesting. I might talk about that very, very soon. So my kind of thoughts on this episode is I really liked it. I think the only thing that gripes me is the fact that Kaito has to continuously watch. And it's more like, oh, I'm not going to fight properly because I want to know what's going on. And I generally really found that annoying because it looked like he was just getting beaten all the time when his main focus should have been on the others. Hey, here's your ability to transform into your Megazord forms, but I'm now busy, and then go for that one. We had a giant gear which looked completely out of place. It just looked really, really bad. But I love this episode. I think this episode was absolutely spot on. It was a really good one. It's possibly one of my favorites all the way through the series so far. And it kind of left it at a cliffhanger. I think that we had enough Megazord fights, but I think I wanted the others to really kind of go for it, because it just felt like as soon as you saw the like Jiren and all the others waiting for the attack, the Megazords were just posing, waiting to go for it. And you kind of think it would have been interesting if they were powering up their attacks, that they got theirs in first. But apart from that, it's a really good episode. There's a ton of stuff. I love the fact now it just reminds me of Powerpuff Girls, and hopefully it reminds you of Powerpuff Girls as well. But yeah, I am going to leave it there. What are your thoughts on this episode? Do you agree with what I say? Do you not agree? Let me know down below in the comments. And if you like this sort of content and you want to see more, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and always leave a cheeky comment and turn those notifications on. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.
チャンネルをサポートしてくれてありがとうございます。チャンネル登録、高評価お願いします。